Hey guys, welcome to Deal or Bust. We're going to have a buyer get on today. He's got buyers that are going to try and buy his SaaS company live. It's going to be a lot of fun. Excited for you guys to watch live. You can comment and let us know what you think about his profit and loss statement, what you think about his churn, his growth, and even get in and make your own offers in the comments. We'll have a lot of fun. I want to make sure you don't miss next week's episode. If you're just watching the replay of this or tuning in later, you want to go to nathanlatka.com/next week to make sure you don't miss next week's live episode. If that link doesn't work, it means we're already full. So be sure to reserve your spot now at nathanlatka.com/next week. All right, in about 30 seconds, we're going to meet the buyers. And then after that, we're going to jump in and talk to the founder. We'll dive into all the analytics, the metrics of the company. You'll see the company URL. And then additionally, we're going to have 3 experts tuning in to give us tactical feedback on the company. Specifically, we've got Nat with Growth Machine, who's going to give a growth tactic. We've got Dev Basu with Powered by Search, and Yako at Winning by Design, the guy when it comes to sales. Before we get started, feel free, guys, just to make sure all the tech is working properly, feel free to say hi in the chat. I'm watching live, so I see Cameron Blackwell is watching. John Garudi III, hello, my man. Paulo is watching. Hello from Brazil. It's good to see everybody. Let me know in the chat, guys, what you are. Are you a founder or you're an investor? Or you're watching. You're going, what the heck is going on? I love Shark Tank. What is happening? And you just want to be here to watch it all happen. Let me know where you're joining from and what you are, founder or investor. Hi, Luis Gasca. Good to see you. Anthony Miller is in the house. The Accent Podcast said Yako is a legend. I agree. Everyone on the back end, I see them on my stream right here. Tim, you're in the right spot. Akil, you're good to go. Darwin, thanks for wrapping up. That's good stuff. Max, good to see you, ma'am. Will Cannon from Uplead. Will, good to see you, man. Thanks for checking in. Again, guys, say hi in the comments. That makes us all feel good. We're about 60 seconds away from meeting the buyers and about 2 minutes away from meeting the seller, a founder that's going to try and sell his company live. You are watching Deal or Bust. This is essentially Shark Tank for SaaS. Now, last week, here's what you guys saw. You saw a company come on, Questions Pro. This was actually 2 weeks ago. He shared his financials. We had buyers going back and forth, and you can see in the comments, we had a lot of you guys saying, Nathan, I would pay 18 million or 18 to 22 million. And we had a live debate. It was a bunch of fun. You'll want to go watch all those past episodes by clicking subscribe here on YouTube right below this video. Or if you're watching on Facebook, Twitter, or somewhere else, subscribe there as well. All right, the last tech check we're going to do before we rock and roll is, guys, check in on Twitter. I just posted a tweet about this live Shark Tank for SaaS. That is the tweet. So if you go to my Twitter, it is the first tweet I just put out right here. If I go to my profile, it should say we are live. All you have to do, click the little heart on this and let me know that you're watching, that you can see it clearly, that you're good to go right here. Heart, retweet it, leave a comment. And that will be my indication that we are good to go, that you guys can hear me clearly, that you can see me clearly, that there's no tech issues, and we'll rock and roll. Wesley Ross, greetings from Poland. Wesley, good to see you. We've got Lead Sift in the house. Lead Sift, good to see you here. I'm not sure. What's your name? Who's behind Lead Sift? All right, and this is great. I see you guys checking in on Twitter. This is wonderful. 4 new notifications here. Let's go see who's checking in. Kirill Kurlikov. That is a heck of a name. What a name. What a name. What a name. All right, good to see you, ma'am. Give you a little love there. Who else? Tim is in the house. We'll meet Tim here in a second. Chris Snyder, a bunch of others. Phil Emerson, old school sales guy. No name, just old school sales guy. I like that. If I didn't have a name and I was just called something, I wonder what it would be. Don't tell me. I think I would not get such nice answers from some people, but we'll see. All right, we've got RevOps in the house. Ray, good to see you, man. Sam Cohen from Austin. Steve from Rochester. All right, good to see everyone. Looks like we're good to go. No tech issues. So, guys, without further ado, we are going to rock and roll. Again, last week, what you saw was a lot of $18, $20 million offers into Questions Pro. Sorry, this was 2 weeks ago. If you're just tuning in, watching the replay, make sure you go to nathanlatka.com/next week to reserve your spot to watch next week's episode where a founder will try and sell live. All right, guys, we ready to meet the buyers today? We ready to meet the buyers? We're 30 seconds away from that, and then we're about 2 minutes away from meeting the seller. Matt from Polychrome Capital. Matt, good to see you guys. All right, This makes my blood get super excited, and I love it because unlike my podcast, I don't have to be the guy asking the tough questions. I can sort of sit back, drink my little mocha here, relax, and let the buyers you're about to meet do all the tough questions because ultimately it's their checkbook on the line. So let's jump right in and meet our first buyer. Our first shark today is Tim Schumacher. He runs SaaS Group. He's acquired 4 companies. His last deal was a company called Sniply for $2 million. He is ready to write a check. He's excited, but he's got to find the right deal. He's got $25 million in capital to deploy, is doing on average 3 to 4 deals per year. With that being said, let's meet the man himself. Tim, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Audio, man, what a bad there we go. Audio is working great. You look good. I am doing well. Where are you joining from?
Joining from Cologne, Germany.
Cologne, Germany. And give us a quick tease here real quick. The last company you bought was Sniply for $2 million. What multiple did you pay on that? 1x, 2x, 3x, or cheaper?
On revenue-wise, that was about a 4x, but it was also very profitable. But also you gotta correct your slide. We did another deal. We bought Scraper API yesterday.
Okay.
It's not announced yet, so your audience first want to hear.
Love that.
And that we can't disclose the price. It's an NDA, but it's a little bigger than that, and it's a great service.
So guys, should I beat the hell out of Tim and get him to tell me the price right now, or should I let him off the hook? What do you guys think? No, we want him back. We want him to acquire companies live. But that's great, Tim. Thanks for sharing that live. That's amazing. Okay, so guys, this is Tim's. He's actively buying. This is not someone sitting on the sidelines. He's active buyer, ready to rock and roll. Tim, thanks for joining. Next buyer I want you guys to meet is Akil Jabber. Akil is running Horizon Capital. He's got 12 companies acquired. Last deal was Longtail Pro. Has capital deployed and is also looking to do between 3 and 4 deals per year. Akil, welcome to Deal or Bust.
What's going on, Nathan? Thanks for having me again.
Good to see you. Okay, so give us a quick tease. What kinds of companies are you looking to acquire?
Sure, yeah. So we're looking for SaaS companies right now, looking to do anywhere between 500K to 5 million ARR. So that's our sweet spot, North America based. And yeah, I'm excited to see what's out there today.
Will you look at non-profitable companies or they have to be printing cash?
No, they could be cash flow positive or break even. We'll look at both.
Okay, very good. And Tim, same question to you. Do they have to be profitable or can they be burning cash?
We prefer them to be profitable, but sometimes we also do deals if they burn cash.
Okay, very good. Well, guys, we're not going to bury the lead here. We want to meet the founder as fast as possible. He has got swagger like you wouldn't believe. I'm looking at him behind the scenes right now. His shoulders kind of down to his side. I mean, he's like just feeling confident. He's laughing now because I'm chatting to him. But his name is Dimitri, and the company is called Just Reach Out. And I should say, no one has seen the company before. It's the first time, Tim. It's the first time our buyers are seeing the company. I want to now welcome Dimitri to the screen. Dimitri, welcome to Deal or Bust.
Hey, good to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Where are you based?
I'm in Portsmouth, New Hampshire.
Portsmouth, New Hampshire. All right, let's not bury the lead. What are you looking for? Just kind of say a sentence. Let's put it all, just like when people walk on Shark Tank. So how much revenue is the company doing and what would be the perfect deal for you? How much cash are you looking for?
So we're Just Reach Out. We help brands pitch journalists and get featured in press all on their own without PR firms. We're looking for a $700,000 all cash upfront offer. The company is making right now $300,000 a year or something like that.
Top line or profit?
Top line.
Top line, good. And about how much in profit?
Profit, it depends ad backs or not. I calculated with ad backs, that's 170, 150,000. Without ad backs, it's like probably 15, 20,000.
This is great. We're going to dive into your product and the metrics here in a second. Then I'm going to shut up and let Tim and Akil fire questions at you. You guys are going to go back and forth with the goal of Tim and Akil over the next 10 to 20 minutes, working towards either making you an offer or walking out of the tank and saying why they can't do the deal. You do have fans in the audience. Looks like Anthony Miller says, I know this service. So you have some users. That's great. You planted see, you're smart. You planted these guys, didn't you? You said, I'm going to try and sell live. Go in the comments.
People just find me. I write a lot and we rank for all these terms. So people just know me. It's kind of crazy.
I love that. I love that. Avishai, I see your question in the comments. We'll get to that in a second. Guys, before we jump into the P&L with Dimitri, it would mean a ton if you this live, debate in the comments. You guys are the third buyer. So as we go through all this, we are reading your comments live. We'll get into it. I see the Accent Podcast just asked what ad backs. Again, we'll get to that in a second. Dimitri, let's go ahead and jump in. So I want to give you 1 or 2 minutes to talk through what your product does, and then Akil and Tim, I'm going to let you guys open it up and start asking questions.
Sure. Well, PR sucks, right? And so it costs a lot of money, a lot of time. And we just help brands, agencies, anybody who's doing PR outreach, do it all on their own through our tool. Never hire a PR firm. And yeah, 7 years into it, we just let people do this all on their own. Discover journalists, email them, improve your pitches all in one.
Tim, what do you think about this space, this sort of PR space? It's kind of an outreach model, but instead of trying to find clients, you're trying to find people to write about you.
I like the idea because it's PR is a fragmented market, very manual. So if you find a good tool there, I think that can certainly be helpful.
Okay, Akil, what are your thoughts on the space in general? JustReachOut.io.
I think it's great. The more automation or platforms you can help to automate that time of reaching out, the better. It's just a matter of the quality of the database. I think it's going to be important here.
Mm-hmm. So talk to us about quality of the database, Dimitri.
So it's actually not a static database. It sits on top of Google and Bing. So what we do is we pull in relevant news articles, podcasts, data around journalists that's coming in live, and we respond to that data. So you might find a podcast episode about buying a company, and you might say, hey, this guy looks like he's all about buying companies, and hey, I have something to pitch him, and I can do that. And that. So we use that as a data point. So instead of a static database like Cision and all these other kind of companies that are selling static lists, that's kind of, I call it the old school of doing PR. We say, hey, create something that's very, very valuable. So value over, quality over quantity. That's what we tell people when they pitch with our service.
Tim, you have another question on the product?
Yes, I mean, how do you do it? Like you say you use Google and Bing, and how do you then find out what journalist is writing about something right now? Because Google and Bing tells you what they've written before, but like...
Yeah. So good question. So say you are in the beauty space and you have a 3D, we have a client that does a virtual kind of like makeup stuff, right? So you put in a keyword into our search tool. Usually it's virtual makeup or virtual 3D, whatever, VR makeup. And what we do is we go out to Bing and Google and we find articles about it. We also go out to newsletters that have journalists asking questions about certain things, like Harrow. You guys might have heard of that. But essentially, we look at who's covered a specific term or specific area around what you are pitching, and who's also asked questions about it on Twitter, in newsletters, on social media, wherever. And so what we do is we aggregate that data and we present a list of opportunities for you saying, hey, here is 7 questions that were asked about makeup and VR in the last week. Go ahead and answer them. And then here is another, here's another list of journalists to ping because they just wrote about something. So, and we give you all the templates and all that to do the outreach.
Guys, if you're just joining, you are watching Deal or Bust, a show where SaaS founders come on and try and sell their companies live. Our seller today, our founder who's worked his butt off to build JustReachOut.io, is Dimitri, doing $340,000 in top-line revenue, and with ad backs, meaning adding back the owner draw he's been taking. The company's making about $150,000 in profits. He's asking for $700,000 all cash up front for the company. And Tim and Akil right now are grilling him, asking for questions, trying to figure out, is it a price they're willing to pay, or will they walk out of the tank with no deal? So any other guys product questions before we get into the P&L, Akil?
Yeah, so how do you find their contact email and information? How do you know it's accurate? And then is it only journalists, or do you also have webmasters and say influencers as well that you can reach out to?
Great question. Bloggers, podcasters, journalists are the ones that we focus on. In terms of contact information, what we typically do is we scrape the bio and the social media information out of their profiles online. And we feed it to our team in Philippines. So we display our best guess for the customer, but we always tell the customer that, hey, this email will be double checked and human verified by our team in Philippines. And so when you hit send, it goes out to our team in Philippines. They verify that this is exactly the right email address for that journalist. If it's not, then they'll fix it. So we focus on quality over quantity. But yeah, we never have bounces or any kind of issues because every email must be human verified.
Akil, good answer, or no? You want to grill harder there?
I think it was good.
Good answer. All right, Dimitri, question from the audience. And guys, if you're watching live, again, participate in the comments. Type in right now. If you have questions, justreachout.io. What's the company do? Feel free to jump in and ask right now. Brandon Lilly has a good one, Dimitri, for you. What's the benefit of this software versus using Haro or Googling yourself?
Yeah, so this software, exactly, it makes it much easier for you to do the outreach. And it also does a lot more than just answer Haro questions, right? So we have 5 different tools inside there that allow you to do different types of outreach. One of which is, aggregation of Haro-like queries and getting your name known. Another one is, hey, you want to be in press? Go pitch press, much easier, and always have the contact info there, always know who to ping and what to tell them. And we have a whole section of the tool that allows you to do backlink building and improve your rankings and SEO, kind of finding broken links and doing the outreach to gain links. So it's really meant as a tool to kind of improve your overall brand online and make PR outreach, backlink outreach, getting your name out there much easier, and more efficient.
Yep, very good. We've got a lot of good questions coming in. Sales Tools is asking what segments churn faster. Guys, we're running into the churn data and things like that in a second. But first, we always like taking a pause with the audience. We're 16, 17 minutes in here. You're watching 2 buyers try and buy a SaaS company live. The SaaS company is doing $340,000 in top line revenue. It's called justreachout.io. Now, before we spend more time on this slide that I just went to, which is the company's P&L, where we really dig into the expenses, I want to get your guys' take real quick. Click the thumbs up button below if you're loving this show. It's something we're testing. It's our 3rd episode. If we get more than 50 of you guys clicking that little like button, we will do this again and again. So I'll give you guys about 10 or 20 seconds to do that while I thank one of our partners for this show. That partner, and I hope he's on right now so he can see this, that partner is Andrew, who has built MicroAcquire. Andrew sold his last company for, I think it was public. Andrew, I hope I'm not blowing your cover here, but he sold it for $18 million. To a firm, and then said, you know what, the process stinked of selling my company. So he launched microacquire.com, which helps companies sell themselves, helps founders find buyers and vice versa. Microacquire.com, which is where Dimitri has come from today. Dimitri, how'd you find MicroAcquire?
He cold emailed me, and he's like, dude, do you want to sell your company? And I was like, I don't know, like maybe. And he's like, well, I'm building this site where I can do it. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to work with a broker, man. I don't like you. And he just kept emailing me.
There's Andrew smiling in the Andrew, when we met at the Rosewood on Sand Hill to talk, you were like, I could sense, you're like, you were almost judging me, Nathan the marketer, Nathan the cold email, or Nathan the guy that like will keep emailing. And then I hear from Dimitri now that you're busting his balls saying, get on my platform, cold emailing. So that's how it works, huh? I love that, Dimitri. All right. Very, very good. All right. And I see a lot of you guys clicked the like button. So again, we're not going to bury the lead. We're going to keep moving around here. Let's jump, guys, right into the P&L. Now, Tim, I want you to ask a question before I actually show the numbers. So Dimitri's asking for 700 grand top line. 700 cash, all cash up front. You know, he's doing 340K top line and about 150K in profits. What's your biggest concern with those metrics in terms of getting to a $700,000 all cash upfront offer?
So 2 things. First of all, I would like to know if the 150K profit, including your salary, your own salary.
That's basically my salary. That's basically my salary. Yeah.
Okay, so the 150K is before you take out any salary.
Yeah.
So you're working on this full time, but then you, at the end of the day, as most entrepreneurs, take out the profit and don't pay yourself a salary.
So no, we wipe out the profit with my salary.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And the second thing is growth. Is like, are you growing or are you shrinking? That is my main question. If you want
flat year over year for now. 2018 and 19. we've been flat because we were redoing the product. We killed services. We used to do services, so we've killed off services. So we're pure SaaS now. So we've been just focusing and working on the product, really trying to make it the best we can, and also killing off services, PR services, to pretty much nothing.
So now I
else.
see the numbers, but I don't know if I would call that flat, to be honest. It's like revenue is cut in half from January to December, if I'm reading that correctly.
In 2019, yeah. So in 2019, we killed the services, and that's why we killed the revenue. So
how's 2020?
2020 is like we have 20K pretty stable every month. You know, we PC from Profitwell, Dan Martell from SaaS Academy are good friends. They've been guiding me, and so they told me to do annuals. They really pushed me for a year, and so early this year we introduced annuals. So that went really well. We got a bunch of people through on annual plans in January and February. And so now I'm very fortunate to say that our churn rate has been so small compared to like all our friends, you know, because everybody's been on yearly plans. But yeah, we've been around 20K all year long. We just we took everybody in on annuals in the beginning of the year. So
that's smart. Congrats.
Yeah, and just to be clear, Dimitri, so what you guys are seeing here in the P&L, in case you minimize the screen, you want to maximize, because this is the full P&L here. Your total revenues in December of 2019 were about 17,000. Your total revenues in January of 2019, so like this is basically going backwards, which is what we're talking about. That's why Tim was saying it looks like they cut in half.
Yes, yeah, because we literally went out and we killed every services account. And this is thanks to Dan Martell, by the way. Dan Martell was the guy who sat down with me, and I was at his SaaS intensive, and he's like, dude, you know, if you want to sell this, you got to build a SaaS product, you know? And I was like, all right, I'm going to kill every single one of these accounts.
This is so not fair. So you're blaming Dan for your revenue going half. Well, guess what? We actually have Dan live. Let's bring Dan on live right now and see if that. No, I'm just kidding, Dimitri. I'm not gonna.
Let's have Dan on, man.
If he was here, I would.
No, it's not only him. He suggested, hey, he actually told me, hey, but you got to have services on, but at some point, if you want to sell it, you should probably kill them off.
Yep. Good question there, Tim. Yeah. So revenue has been sort of cut, right? Akil, do you have questions on the P&L?
So I think, you know, based on your numbers, if you're saying 150K for, say, EBITDA with your ad back, that 700K valuation isn't too bad. You're looking at, you know, just over a 4.5x multiple, or even if we use revenue, we're looking at just over a 2x. The issue is when you actually look at the numbers, let's say like the last trailing 6 months here, you know, the numbers don't look as good. So if you're saying 20K a month now, you know, that's a big drop.
21, 22, 20, about, 2020. I sent the 2020 one to you too. I think you might have it, but it's like 22, 21.
Just to be clear too, so Dimitri, one of the things that acquirers obviously want to understand is when they buy the company, what expenses will they have versus which ones will they save, which will go to the bottom line. Are you arguing that this $10,000 per month is your owner draw, and if Tim or Akil buy the company, this will turn into profit?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Plus, there's taxes. There's taxes for the payroll too, so it's a little bit more than that.
Yep. So Akil, do you believe, I mean, one of the things is founders always say, this will go to the bottom line after I buy the company. So do you believe that this would actually be profit if you took over the company and bought it?
It's possible. So I think, you know, let's say add 11K back there. Let's say if it's 20, 22, let's say we have a profit of 10, 11K, but then now we have all our costs to get back in there to operate it. I'm not sure what kind of team you have in place, or it's just single operated by yourself.
It's just me. It's just me. My wife helps out a little bit. There's another item on there, $2,500. That's Dan Martell's expense. He charges that much to be part of his thing. I cut that out. It was brutal, but I cut it out just so I can sell it, so it looks sexier.
That is this $27,000 education expense.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So guys, we're going to get in a second into more unit economics data. So churn, LTV, and growth over time. But we wanted to give the buyers, Tim and Akil, a chance to look at the overall P&L data so they can get a sense of cash flows. If you're just tuning in, there's about, I thought maybe we'd have 100 people watching live. I see 177, which is amazing. 178 now. You guys are engaging in the comments. I see Luis Rosario, Jesse Owlett asking great questions. Ronnie asking a good question just now. We're going to get to all of that in a second. And I want to make sure that you guys understand we're seeing these comments, so we will get into those. I want to, though, jump into some of the unit economics data. And in order to do this, what I'm going to do, actually, Dimitri, is just ask you first. So do you have a general sense of lifetime value on these customers? Are we talking enterprise deals at, $5K a year? Or are we talking more like a lot of people paying $50 a month?
I think last time I checked, it was like $3,000 lifetime value, at least in profit, which is take it or leave it. That's what it calculates. But I think that was estimating some of the services customers because they were paying like $1,500 a month. So on average, I think people are paying about $300, $500 a month.
Okay. And so just to drill deeper on that here just for a second, I'm going to go on to founderpath.com and look at some of these metrics. We'll get into FounderPath later, but if you guys want to follow along with these metrics, you can go to founderpath.com. Looking at your churn. So one of the questions that I've got when I jump into customers, Dimitri, is these. So what we see here, measures customer concentration risk. So you can see here, you've got all these customers on different plans, and it's a good sign. There's no one customer that makes up like a huge chunk of your revenue. The biggest one out of your 20K a month in revenue is this one at $1,200 a month, right?
Yeah, that's one customer there. Yeah.
Are they pretty sticky?
Yeah, they are awesome. Like Rob from Smarter Finance, he's the man.
Okay, that's your
I've
big
never
customer.
thought he'd be like a kick-ass dude, but he never stops with the thing. He always gets a link or two every month. He's pretty happy.
I love it. Okay, good. So I always ask that question because we don't want Akil or Tim or any buyer to take over the company, and then you lose obviously the biggest customer. So that guy is really sticky. He loves the business.
Yeah.
Okay,
Definitely.
going back into some of these retention numbers. So if I go into, let's look at for a second here, churn data, right? So like the nice thing about your business is there is a lot of history going all the way back to April of 2014. But like one of the challenges are, the churn is through the roof. In fact, the average 13-month retention is about 16.6%. So if someone signs up today, they're still paying 13 months from now. It's about 16.6%. But why are so many people churning?
So we had services, I remember, until May 2019. And then when at Dan's Intensive, I started killing them off. Took me until the rest of the year last year really kill off services. We supported with services to build the product right up until the end of the last year. So services is kind of like, people they sign up, they want you to pitch, and they're not really using the platform properly, right? So as we started migrating people, we started dealing with churn early this year, late last year, and we've been able to, with annual contracts and with a lot of education and also a lot of due diligence, to get the right kind of customer. Mm-hmm. But I will say this, that if you don't have a content marketer on your team, you have no business using our platform. And if you've never been featured in press before, you have no business using our platform. You shouldn't be doing PR outreach with us. So people sign up, they've never been featured in press, or they don't have a content marketer. They're just not a good fit. They churn. They don't know what to pitch. They pitch poorly. They spam people. It doesn't work out.
Tim, what do you think about this churn? And just for all of you watching, in case you're just learning about SaaS metrics, so sometimes you take this for granted, what this chart is showing is that over this plots your last 12 months of customer signups. Each line is a different month of signups that correlates over here. So what you see is that in month 4, right, you have a spread, Dimitri, where your best performing cohort, there are still 92% of those customers paying. Your worst performing cohort, there's only 16% paying. So the spread here is huge between a low of 16% and a high of 92%. Why is it so unpredictable? Like usually you want to see tight bands here, whether they're good or bad, but the tighter the band, the more predictable business is. Why do you think there's so much volatility?
Between the one on the top is February.
Yep.
February 2020, and the one on the bottom is
August 2019.
August 2019. Okay, so August 2019 and February 2020 are people who are annual. They're annual. They're in there for a year, and so they are dedicated. Like Dan likes to say, Dan Martell always tell me this term: dedicated and committed to actually use the tool. And if they're not using it, they're paying a tax for actually not using it. They're committed for the year. The August 2019 people were people that were like, oh, you used to do services for us, but hey, now I got to do this myself. Crap. All right, well, let me try and do that. We used to take on any kind of customer, and we've become pretty brutal on letting people into the platform because we figured out that not everybody deserves PR, and majority of people who want PR shouldn't really have PR because they don't really have anything novel or unique to say. And so we've been very brutal on letting people in. So those August 2019 people, I'll be really frank. We can go down the the line with all the customers that have churned, but I can tell you most of them, they just don't have anything to pitch, and so they try and just self-promote. They don't have a content marketer. They don't have anybody on staff to create something unique, insightful, interesting. They don't need to be doing PR, so.
Guys, we are about, call it 10 minutes away from Tim and Akil making a decision on do they want to make Dimitri an offer for his company, JustReachOut.io. The company is doing top line between 300 and 345K in ARR, at least trailing 12 months, and about, call it between $100 and $150,000 of profit. Dimitri is looking for an all-cash upfront offer of $700K. We're about 10 minutes away from seeing if that's going to happen. If you're enjoying the show, make sure you click the like button below. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe. Dimitri, jumping back in before, and then I'm going to fire a question to Tim here about lifetime value. One of the charts that I like to look at when I'm looking at any company is what's called a stacked LTV chart, right? So most of us are familiar. Akil, you've probably looked at data like this, right? For companies you've acquired, this is just a customer lifetime value chart.
Sure.
And Dimitri, you plot this probably in ProfitWell and some other tools, right?
Yeah.
But what people rarely do is turn this on its side and do a derivative. Watch, I know that's complicated, but watch what happens when we do that. Okay, I'm going to scroll down to this next chart. This chart answers the question, what customer cohorts have actually paid you the most? So check this out. I'm going to hide all of these and just plot first 30-day lifetime value. So what you guys are seeing here is Dimitri's cohort, he signed up in September of 2018, actually paid $650.78 in their first 30-day lifetime value. The customers he's signing up today are paying about $156. And so, Dimitri, what that tells me is you've moved down market, so less enterprise, chasing maybe a higher volume of customers at a lower price point. Is that accurate?
Yeah, we essentially killed services, higher ticker prices for do-it-yourself, just the tool price kind of thing, and locked them in for the year for them.
And so when we look at this pattern over time, so let's stack what they paid over the next 60 days. And then, the next 30 days, and the next 30 days, and the next 30 days. Now that yellow line is first 120-day LTV. What you start to see is that because there's no space between these curves, this December 2019 cohort has basically totally churned off. You're not making any more money from them. However, this cohort you signed up back in December of 2018 is still highly profitable. Do you have any idea why the customers in December 2018 that you signed up have paid you so much more than the current ones? Were those annual deals?
So those were from AppSumo, still coming through from AppSumo promotion. We did a massive AppSumo promotion to put us on the map. And contrary to what they usually do, they do a lifetime deal. We did a 1-year deal. And then after 1 year, we automatically upgrade you. And then we got the people to sign up for that. So a lot of those people got upgraded. And then they started using the tool from being upgraded. So tell you, like, people buy stuff for free, they'll never use the thing. And so on AppSumo, when we did that, it was $49 that they got the 1-year subscription, but it worked. We did 2 of them. And so after the upgrade, this was like 2017, I think. So after the upgrade, 2018, we jumped. We were still seeing a lot of people coming through from that.
So Dimitri, sorry, just to jump in, I'm not sure that this is AppSumo data. I'll tell you why. When I look at like the total number of customers you signed up, just on not a revenue basis, just the pure number of logos.
Those are the ones, yeah.
Yeah, it's these spikes were the AppSumo deals, right?
Yes, that's exactly it. And so they upgraded a year later from that.
Okay, so what you're saying is the October 26th AppSumo deal drove you 909 new customers. They paid 49 one time though, so they weren't actually building your unit economics in terms of recurring revenue. But you're saying in 1 year later, in October 2017 and October 2018, you feel like a large portion of those converted to annual plans?
They started converting to a plan, a paid plan for around end of October 2018. Yeah. And it's because it took them a while. Like we tried to upgrade them, right? Not everybody got upgraded. And then we tried charging them, and then we started being like, yo, are you going to stay? Are you going to go? What's going on? And that's when they seriously started looking at the tool. And it did take a while, you know, a year after that AppSumo deal to figure out what they're going to do, and then another 6 months or so to really start pushing them through. I mean, we did all sorts of campaigns and trying to get them on. A lot of those folks, I think 2018 was the time when we were like cleaning house, basically, you know, from that deal, getting rid of people. And
guys, if you're just joining in, you're watching Deal or Bust. Dimitri is trying to sell to Tim and Akil. We're 5 minutes away from Tim and Akil making an offer or walking out of the tank with no deal. We'll get to your questions in the comments shortly. Feel free to add those. I see a good one here from Gaston we'll go to in a second. I'm going to go to Tim here in a second. But first, Dimitri, watch what happens when I turn on this full chart. So again, I've just been stacking these. So this is what customers have actually paid every 30 days, right? And if I show all, you see a massive spread between customers you've signed up between June of 2019 to today, where their total lifetime value has topped out at around, what is that, at about $1,160 over here, the total paid, versus these cohorts that signed up in February of 2019, where they are still paying every single month. They haven't churned. And these are lifetime values in the $10,000 range. Was that big paying customer, the $1,100 one, part of that February 2019 cohort, and that's what's driving the spike here?
No, that was Rob from Smarter Finance. That was not a big. That was not AppSumo. I mean, he was just a service customer.
No, but did he sign up in February 2019? That's what that is why this spike, I think, is at 10,000. If he's paid you 1,000 for 10 months, that would put his lifetime value at $10,000 here.
I can look up exactly when he signed up, but
this is while Dimitri's doing that, guys. Like, and then I'm going to go to Tim here and ask Tim if he has questions here on these unit economics. But I encourage all of you guys to build this kind of chart for your company, or go to founderpath.com and let us build it for you. Founderpath.com is a tool that I've built to do this type of analysis, and I'll put that link right now in the chat, founderpath.com. But the reason it's important is because you can go back to certain months of cohort signups, and maybe you had a big affiliate partner that month, and you're now looking and the lifetime value is like nothing. You don't want to use that partner again because they sent you bad customers. Maybe another month though, you did an SEO deal with one of Tim's companies or Akil's companies, and that SEO deal or that partnership deal drove you really high value customers. So you want to go back and do more of those deals. It's a really, really great way to figure out the value of those customers over time. So what are you seeing, Dimitri?
January 8th is when he signed on. I've been charging him January 8th.
Of what year?
2019.
January 8th of 2019. Okay. Yeah. So that would be it. Yeah. So January, this is tracking all prior to January. So you maybe had another big customer right before that, but yeah, this is that one big customer that is skewing this data so drastically. Tim, with all this data at your fingertips, what questions do you have on the unit economics?
Good question. Thank you. Great analysis, Nathan, by the way. Really learned a lot. I kind of run out of questions. Like my question is like, how are you going to turn this around? Because the data doesn't look good, to be honest. Is like, I'm kind of questioning if, like, in your quest to make this a SaaS product away from service, you might have killed product market fit. What do you plan to turn this around? Like, what's the vision for the future?
Definitely working on that pretty actively right now, actually. So we took time to build the product. The product was ready late last year. This year, we hit the ground running pretty hard with annual plans, partnerships, and also cold email outreach. And so with cold email outreach and SEO, those are like our two main drivers for leads, right? We rank really well for tons of different keywords. So we get about 10 leads a week organic. We don't do any kind of ads or anything like that. Then we have 4,000 leads that have tried to sign on, but haven't signed on and paid us. They tried to sign on, but they didn't push the credit card through. And then we have another about 700 leads that tried to book a demo and they haven't. And so altogether, we have about 5,000 leads that are very warm. They wanted to engage with us that we just haven't released the platform to right now. We need to go back to them. We say, hey, we have the platform ready. It's here for you. Let's hop on a call. Let's sell this to you. They're people that have went to and acquired. They're like started signing up and they didn't give us our credit card, basically. Aside from that, we have a team that we just hired. Andrew recommended that's doing really, really well. We're getting 15, 20 leads a week from them. People coming in saying, hey, thanks for cold email outreach. This sounds interesting. Let's chat. Let's set up a call. So the idea here is just to have some help to close leads. We have 5,000 folks that, have tried to come in and sign up. And we just said, hey, we're not ready yet. And then we have 20 or so leads coming in, weekly to just come in and say, hey, we want to chat with you, to just sell, man. That's all we need to do now is just start selling, because people are coming in. We are fully ready. The product is fully ready. People are paying for the product. The product market fit is there because it generates 20K every month. People are using it. I can look at the usage metrics. I can see people getting links. I'm publishing case studies. So it's not that people are just paying for air. And I think it's ready for people to just buy it,
Mm-hmm. Guys, we are about 2 minutes away from Akil and Tim making a decision on if they want to make Dimitri an offer. Dimitri is looking for $700K cash all up front. And Dimitri, you didn't just come up with that number off the top of your head. Why is that the number?
Oh, I have a signed LOI and a due diligence completed with a buyer. So we're just negotiating what I'll be doing after they buy it because they want to offer me a salary. We're butting heads around that one little bit for a while here, and so And that
guy's paying 700,000.
700,000 signed LOI. I can show it to you with a nice little salary too.
Dimitri, real quick, guys, before I'm going to, Dimitri, in your defense on cutting off the services revenue, Tim and Akil, quick question for you. Don't most SaaS acquirers, when they see services revenue, it's like you can't win if you have services revenue because people will ding it if you have it because they'll say it's low margin and not scalable. But those of us that do have it know that whatever customers we put professional services on or setup fees on, they stick longer. So the economics are better. So which one should people do? Do you have services revenue or not? Akil?
I have no problem with it. I know a lot of people are against the idea of having service revenue. I think if it adds value to your user and it's part of your product, and there's certain, and it's worthwhile for, especially with enterprise or higher value clients, to have that piece, I'm all for it. There you go. Tim, what about you?
I think it depends. There's some situation where really you should not have services if the whole organization is then a services organization. Then there are other cases where it's perfectly okay.
Yep. Guys, very good. All right, we're going to get into some offers here in a second. Tim and Akil are going to have to make a decision. But coming up, we also have 3 experts chiming in. Nat Ellison with Growth Machine is going to jump on and give a growth tactic for Just Reach Out. Dev is going to come on. He's also in the SEO space. And then Jaco by Winning by Design is going to come on and give a sales tactic. Before we do that, though, if you guys are loving the show and this is something that you think you might want to do or you might want to be a buyer, we are casting for future episodes. So you can go to nathanlacka.com/casting. I'll put the link in the chat right now. And if you want to sell your software company, you can go and tell me there. That's anonymous. It only comes to me. Or if you're buying software companies, you can also go there and tell me, and we might cast you on a future episode. All right, with that being said, guys, we want to now get into the nitty-gritty stuff. I'm going to quickly go back to the P&L so that we can all see it on our screen, right? So we've got Dimitri here, who's looking to sell justreachout.io. Historical performance, $340,000 top line, $150K in profit. Dimitri's got a $700,000 cash offer on the table. Tim, Akil, it's decision time. Akil, let's go to you first. Is this something where you want to make an offer, or is it something where it's not going to work for you? And if that's the case, why? Sure. So a couple of things. I think you're in the middle of kind of restructuring. You just made a bunch of recent changes in these last 6 months. If I saw that the trend was kind of pushing back towards that 30, 40K MRR, specifically on SaaS, I think would be quite interesting.
And then when you look back at the product, my guess is that it's not a very sticky product. It's not something that people need to do on a continuous basis. It's not critical to be doing PR outreach every single month. So maybe they can easily switch over to another product. Our focus specifically at our firm is on growth marketing. So we come in and we try to grow a company using marketing with very, very good product in place. So based on kind of those two reasons, I think we're going to have to pull out on this deal.
Okay, no go on Akil. Tim, let's go. Well, first off, Dimitri, anything there surprise you?
No, you know, I'm looking for people who kind of understand the PR space or understand the PR outreach space. So it needs to be kind of, we need to be aligned, you know, on what folks are doing and how they're looking at things. So totally understand, you know.
Tim, let's roll over to you. And actually, sorry, before you give your analysis, guys, leave a comment here in the chat. You guys have seen the analysis. You know, Dimitri is being extremely courageous, coming on, sharing all this live, and so are Tim and Akil. You know, because they're on the pressure cooker to potentially make an offer or walk away. How would you guys value this company? Brandon, Lily, Jesse, Owlette, what would you guys say? How would you guys value the company? Let me know in the comments, and we'll circle back to that here in a second. Again, if you guys are watching right now, you're watching Deal or Bust, Shark Tank for SaaS. Dimitri with JustReachOut.io coming on. We've got Tim here with SaaS Group, who actually just acquired another company. Tim, it was Scraper.ai?
ScraperAPI.com.
ScraperAPI.com. So he's actively buying. Let's jump into it. Tim, I'll let you go back and forth here with Dimitri. Go ahead.
So it's a nice product. I think I'm going to, after the show, I'm going to sign up and try it out.
Awesome.
During the show, and I wondered, you know, you have to book a demo first, but I'm always kind of put off a little by that. But
just email me. I'll
email you and I'll give it a try, because I think from a product perspective, it's really something I wish I had. I think the numbers could be presented very different. So I would leave out the whole restructuring part and rather kind of present the last 12 months numbers, because if you look at it, if I look at it right now, it's like a downward trend, and sure, there's an explanation, but it's still not really kind of what we are looking for. And so, I mean, essentially ARR is 240 and not 350. So it's much lower, and profit is probably zero. Like, my experience is, you know, like, you're a smart guy, like, you work your ass off, and if I had to replace you, it's probably going to cost me more, because I'm probably going to need two people, like one who's coding and one who's marketing. And like, a lot of founders are like really strong and they're hard to replace. And I'm sure the same with you. So I don't think there's going to be a profit left. And at the same time, there's no growth. The churn numbers are actually not that encouraging. So for that reason, I would be out too.
All right.
Take the offer. The offer is good. If it's on the table, 700.
Oh,
plus the salary,
it's okay. I mean, like,
it's a good offer.
I gotta do my due diligence on them. You know, I have to be happy with them, right? Because I'm staying around. I'm still going to be helping and bringing the company forward. It's just a matter of who takes over to scale it. And what
the chemistry has to be right. I mean, it's just like when choosing an investor, it's like a marriage. You
know, and every investor wants
years and
specific thing.
But from a number perspective, this is a great deal. Take it.
Tim, what would, out of curiosity, if you were valuing this for SaaS Group, what's the max you'd offer? Ignore earnouts and weird things. Just if it was an all cash upfront offer, what's the max you'd offer?
It would have to be bigger. And like the tricky thing I've noticed is really hard on a 240 ARR to replace the founder and still make a profit. That is almost impossible, because you always need one person. So it's a great business for a lifestyle entrepreneur. It's not a great business for a conglomerate like ours who is acquiring SaaS businesses.
Yeah. All right, Tim. Thank you. Dimitri, what's your quick take on the feedback there?
Every investor wants an upward trend. Every investor wants to see sticky metrics. There's nothing new. I've heard this like 10 million times. You know, it just has to be the right person that understands the business. And I'm not leaving the company. I think that was a little bit of a misconception there. They're not replacing me, and I can still sort of partner up with them to kind of scale it. I'm just looking for the right people to partner up with to sort of scale it. So I'm open to selling portions of the company. It's not a must have 700K. I'm just looking, you know, like if you wanted to buy the whole thing right now. but you know, buying portions of it, scaling it together, that kind of thing. And I don't like to dress up numbers, you know, man. Like I just tell them like what it is. That's what we did before, and that's what happened now. If you can give me feedback on how to present numbers easier, yeah, by all means. I'm not an expert. I just tell people what happened, what I'm doing, you know.
Well, I will give my feedback on that. And I'm actually going to tell you what I would pay for this because I actually do like the tool. But before we do that, I want to bring on some experts in Nat Alias. And we're going to start with Growth Machine to give you some feedback on what he would do from a growth tactic perspective if you did not sell this or if someone bought it and they want to continue to grow it. So let's go ahead now and bring in Nat. Nat, how are you?
Good. How's it going?
We are doing well. So you just saw all this go down with justreachout.io. I gave you a hint last night what the company was. You run a very successful agency called Growth Machine. What would you recommend to Dimitri that he do? A quick tactic that you think would drive a lot of impact?
Yeah, I don't know. Dev and I are actually talking in the chat a little bit, and I was making side interest to Dimitri in the chat.
Yeah,
too.
What's the? I'm seeing the private chat right now. I'm going, why the hell are there 60 comments in the private chat? And I'm reading them. And Nat's trying to buy the company in the comments while we're here live with two other buyers. Now you dog you.
So let me explain, because this actually feeds into the growth tactic too, right? Which is when we were looking at the churn metrics, right? The thing that I was wondering is like, okay, why is churn high? And the question I'm asking in my head is, okay, who's going to use a service like this for 2 or 3 years? And who's going to use it for like a short period and then stop, right? Because I'm imagining that a lot of people sign up for it because they've got a product launch coming up or something, or they just started content marketing and they want to start building some links, or they want to get some PR outreach for their launch. And so they sign up, they use it, and then they leave, right? And that might be where some of the churn is coming from. So then I was thinking like, okay, well, who is going to use it for 2-3 years? And the big area that stood out to me is like link building and SEO agencies, right? It's like I run an SEO agency. We do a lot of link building. We spend a ton of time doing this kind of like research and planning and like finding people to contact and getting their emails, reaching out to them. And if I, had this database and all of these systems in place to find people to reach out to, that's going to be super useful. Because like a PR agency has a lot of existing contacts that they use for a bunch of different companies, whereas a link building agency has to keep building new connections, right? And that's where this can add a lot of value. So my thinking was, what if instead of, this kind of like down market movement where you got rid of the services, which I think was smart, but now you're attracting smaller customers, what if instead you made the product go back up market towards these like SEO and link building agencies who need to do just like incredible amounts of outreach at scale? Because I mean, the link building side of our business is at least like 30, 40, 50 grand a month, right? So if I'm paying you $5,000 a month.
Nat, sorry, you're making 30, 50 grand a month off your link building services?
Yeah, it's about that much.
Yeah.
Right. So if we're like paying a service, 5 or 10K a month, and that's going to cut the time I have to spend on it in half, that's like an incredible ROI. And I'm going to pay for that for years and years and years and years. Right. And that's kind of why I was pinging Dimitri in the chat saying like, well, would you be open to a seller finance deal for this? Because I feel like, my agency could buy a service like this, incorporate it into our process, save the amount we would be paying you each month just in like time and attention, and it would be like an awesome deal for us, right? But totally understand that you've got like a sick deal on the table for all cash, so you should go.
Yeah, what's the most you would offer?
Oh, that's a good question. I'd have to run the numbers on it, because I am inclined to agree that the profit is so affected by the fact that with you leaving the company, we're going to have to hire someone to manage the processes as they are right now. The biggest question to me would be, how much time and attention would it take to maintain the current product side of the business? And then how much is it going to cost to hire somebody to run that part of it? And then based on that person's salary, that's going to be deducted from whatever we're calling the profit based on the last, 4 or 5 months of the company's financials, right? So we'd need a couple other numbers that we don't have right here that I'd want to look at. And I think that's why, again, if you have this $600,000 or $700,000 deal, you should take that. But if I were looking at it, that's how I would be thinking about it, is like, okay, I want to buy this, keep what you have going right now, but then turn it into like a link building, like massive leverage point for us, so that we can just like destroy every other link building agency.
Nat, 30 seconds left here. What growth tactic would you give Dimitri as a gift here? You do this for a living. What if he keeps the company and grows it? What's something you'd tell him to try?
Yes. So you mentioned SEO is a good acquisition channel, right? But when I look at your search traffic right now, it's pretty much all coming from like 3 keywords, right? So press release example, how to write a media pitch, and public relations. Something that'll be interesting to me to try, and this might not be good for your churn, but it could be a good tactic for getting initial acquisition is there's some search volume around get featured in like every interesting publication. And so if you can have, somebody on your team write up case studies of how people using your platform got featured in each of those publications, you could be number 1 on Google for how to get featured in TechCrunch, how to get featured in Business Insider, how to get featured in Forbes, how to get featured in New York Times, like all of those. And then showing people using your tool to do that, like that could be a really compelling conversion funnel, since those are all going to be very high conversion intent keywords compared to something like press release example, which is bringing in tons of traffic, but that's not necessarily a super high conversion intent topic that somebody might be searching. So that's the thing that I personally might try if I were taking it over.
Dimitri, any response or question for Nat?
Wow, awesome. First of all, thank you, Traffic Think Tank and Matt Barbie. HubSpot has been one of our biggest customers 4 years now. His Traffic Think Tank community full of SEOs have become some of our strongest customers. So we're pushing hard on SEO features and starting to market mainly to SEO agencies now. So very aligned with your feedback there and just going full throttle on that. Totally appreciate awesome keyword ideas. We're doubling up. I use a lot of my personal blog, criminallyprolific.com, to pull traffic into Just Reach Out as well. So yeah, together there's more keywords there. But yeah, it's very generic, like media pitch, PR outreach, those kind of words. So how to write a pitch for TechCrunch or how to get featured at TechCrunch and so forth. That's pretty cool. I'll have to look at those keywords,
Nat, growthmachine.com. Nat, if people want to learn more from you, where can they go?
Yeah, growthmachine.com is good. And then I'm on Twitter, just at Nat Elias, and you can find me there, and I'm usually pretty responsive.
All right, Nat, thanks for jumping on.
Yeah,
and Nat, you have an awesome book, right? About how to
oh my God,
improve your sexual...
That's a different discussion.
Hold on. Dimitri,
how to be better in bed, basically, right?
Really? Nat's blushing now. Nat is blushing hardcore.
This is how I got into SEO. All right, we're gonna talk about this live. Let's do it. Gosh, which of these keywords are still up there? I think if you search like last longer in bed.
Nat, do you think I'm stupid? You think on a live show I'm gonna go on Google and search last longer in bed? Do I look like an idiot?
He is actually like
hey, you want views, don't you?
He's the man though about that keyword. He comes up number 1 for that. It's crazy.
I'm like
got a whole book on it.
Still, so that's the original proof of concept for SEO. So yes. There you go.
Yes.
Awesome, Nat. Thanks for joining, man.
Yep.
All right, guys, 2 more experts before we wrap up. Valentine, it's good to see you here as well. Also building a great company out in Bucharest. Guys, we're watching your comments live. You're catching the tail end of Deal or Bust. Just Reach Out.io founder Dimitri trying to sell his company for $700K. He has got an offer already for $700K, all cash up front, doing $340K top line, $150,000 in profit. It's a very sexy tool that a lot of people are using. A lot of people want it. Dimitri, we're going to now bring in Dev Basu with Powered by Search before we wrap up with our 3rd expert, Yako, with Winning by Design. And then a big surprise at the end. One more thing you guys want to stay tuned to see. Dev, let's bring you on here, man. How are you?
Great, thanks. How are you?
Good. So Nat just touched on a little bit of SEO tactics. You run an SEO firm called Powered by Search, work with some of the largest brands in SaaS, like Pendo, like CallRail, like ClickFunnels. When you see and look at justoutreach.io, what do you think the opportunities are?
I think it's positioning. So just kind of on the same topic as Nat, I think about the stickiness of the product. And the first thing that I think about is around who's got a PR budget that's not going to get cut. And we tend to work with a lot of enterprise customers who have marketing communications teams and PR. They have internal PR people that they're not going to let go or fire. Improving workflow for those people is going to be an important part. And the only reason I bring this up is because we have customers who sell to agencies, and agencies can be a fickle customer overall. Nat's agency, or perhaps Powered by Search, for example, like there's a lot of agencies out there that can essentially churn and burn through accounts. And if you look at your own stuff, Dimitri, you'll find like maybe 4% of agencies are generating like 60% plus of your stickiness effectively, lifetime value. But if you think about these bigger deals, I think there is an opportunity to go up market as well and start focusing on these marc comms and PR folks. So that's a positioning thing. That's not necessarily SEO specifically. But what that can also do is more on a tactical level. Actually, a couple of things I noticed was you're focusing on this PR software sort of niche. It doesn't have a lot of search volume, you know? It has like 300 searches per month for PR software. I think PR public relations tool has something like 500 searches basically per month. So not a lot of people are very product aware in this category. So producing content that specifically, to Nat's point, like the get featured in people who are problem unaware, or rather sort of product unaware, but somewhat problem aware. They may be somewhat pain point aware. That's what I'd focus in on and dive deeper into. And specifically, if you did that, you'd start seeing some big gains. One other thing that I saw, this is a small technical SEO thing that we see a lot with software companies, is you have your blog on a subdomain, man. Move that sucker over into a subdirectory. So not blog.justoutreach.io, but justreachout.io/blog. And whenever we've done that in terms of a subdomain migration, traffic has just kind of shot up through the roof in the next couple of months. It just makes your content work harder for you instead of fragmenting it. So that might be something super small and tactical, but if a buyer came in and bought this company, by the way, $700K offer, brilliant, go take it. It's really, really good. But you know, that would be one of the top things to think about, which is just consolidating all your efforts rather than fragmenting them.
Awesome. No,
Dimitri, what blog move? Good idea.
Yeah, totally. I that's on the list. We tried and we had an issue with moving it over, so we're gonna try and I just hired a new firm to kind of help me with that migration process. So we're just gonna be doing that. And thanks for the keyword ideas. Yeah, we have like how to write a press release and press release email, press release format, press release template, those types of things, PR for startups, PR outreach. But yeah, we want to get more specific into like how to create a media list or those types of things that are like problem aware. And so the next topics that we have the writers writing are very specific around, you know, things that people are doing, and really looking at SEO kind of folks too. Scoring a backlink, PR, like outreach for backlink, those types of things.
Can you find out like who's using big folks like Meltwater or Cision, for example? Like, do they have any scripts on their site that you can start figuring out who those customers are and then pitch them and say, our tool does a portion of what you guys do, but it's just so simple and easy to learn and we'll help you onboard and that kind of thing? Because I love like taking, you know, being sort of David versus Goliath, right? Go after the big guys and start taking off a piece of what they're doing because you just do it better.
Right. No, we do. We totally do. And we've been, we rank for stuff like Cision alternative, Meltwater alternative. And so people who are dissatisfied with Cision or dissatisfied with another platform will find us and will come up. And so we've been going after it that way. We're looking at people who downrate them on G2 or something else, you know. And we also, we're looking, I mean, Meltwater and some of these other folks, we've been talking with them for so long too on different levels, partnerships, acquisitions. And so we know them pretty well. So I know some of the customers there. But yeah, that's a good idea, you know, going after competitors, companies.
Dev Boss, we appreciate you coming on, man. Poweredbysearch.com. Is that the best place for people to find you with your Twitter?
At Dev Basu on Twitter, and yeah, poweredbysearch.com is the site.
Guys, there you have it. Very good. We're going to wrap up with one last expert here, Jaco, who just brings the freaking energy. He's stuck around for 55 minutes, which I so appreciate because we had such a good engagement happening here. He runs Winning by Design. He's partnered with Storm Ventures. They put him in all his portfolio companies. You see him at Dan Martell events. You see him keynoting at SaaS Stock. You see him everywhere. But now that I've built him up, I'm going to pull a Ryan Seacrest American Idol commercial break. Not really commercial break, but here is the P&L. Those of you that are just joining and you're a little bit late, this is the P&L that Dimitri has provided for justreachout.io. Very courageous to do this, but it really helps us learn the ins and outs of building a SaaS company from the early stages. I mean, this is what it looks like. You have an owner draw of $10,000. Top line revenue was $35K in January 2019. He cut out services revenue to increase margins, but obviously decreased overall total revenue. Now down to call it 17, 18, 20K between 17 and 22K per month. So all that being said, again, if you guys are enjoying this, and this is something that you could see yourself doing or coming on and teaching others, either buying companies or selling your company, I encourage you right now to go to nathanlaka.com/casting. And that is the best way to get featured on the show later. All right, with that being said, let's go ahead and bring in the Mr. Winning by Design, Jaco. Jaco, how are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I am doing so well. So I'm excited for you to meet Dimitri. I do have one contingent thing. I mean, you are the sales guy, and I have sat in your CEO forums at SaaS Talk before, and I love them. You have so many of these graphs, these charts. They're amazing. You have great books that come out people can find on Amazon. But one of the things I always wonder, can these tactics work when, like this sales process work when the price point is an under $100 ARPU, or are your tactics only for higher ACV kind of deals?
Product-led growth and any other form of go-to-market strategy is based on science, mathematical formulas, and so on. That will apply to any different kind. If you see what specifics a field sales organization won't apply, for example, to an organization that Dimitri is down trying to work with here. So you have different ways of addressing different solutions. In the price range that Dimitri is, for example, you're sitting right on the edge of product-led growth being the only way of doing it versus an inbound-driven model where a salesperson would address this. As soon as you go over $10,000 or $15,000 on average annual contract price, you come into alternative go-to-market strategies. Does that help? Okay, I got to tell you the following. Ladies and gentlemen, can we get a freaking round of applause for Dimitri down here? Because I'm telling you, I will see this, okay? That's the founder. You are it, man. You are it.
Thanks, man.
You're welcome. I'm going to say the following. First of all, I'm going to make you an offer, and I want you to take this offer serious. Can I make an offer, or is that?
Yeah,
of course.
I'm going to give you 4 hours of free consulting.
Awesome.
If you're sitting on more than $700,000.
That definitely, please help.
What you have done, based on what I've seen, and I can only see what I've seen, and it's right. You went the right way and you turned back too quickly because it is there what made you successful. And Nathan showed in the metrics what is there to be successful. Essentially, you are running a small times small times small times small times small kind of business. And I'm going to try to explain what it is. So the market that you're addressing is essentially a niche market. Not everybody uses it. It's small. The price that you charge is essentially not a huge price. It's relatively small. As Nathan put it, it was whatever, $11,060. It's small. Then the amount of clients that you make successful are only a percentage of your business. It's small. And so what you're going to get small times small times small. Now, any point in time when you want to make a business like that successful, you got to have something that's big. You got to have something that goes like boom, because that means that you're either in a product-led growth strategy, right? Like Slack or something like that. Lots of engineers want it. Mm-hmm. Because you're not in that domain, because there are not lots of people yet, you have one of two problems. A, you got to change to a large kind of people that want to buy. For example, you're going to go after every marketer in every marketing company, large group. Or two, you're going to go what most people have already seen. You're going to go back to the enterprise and you're going to compete the heck on such a high quality product. What you have, Dimitri, is you have the strength of a founder who knows product. That means that when I put you in front of an enterprise, you can walk around all the other specialists of your competitors that are having the same talk because you're the founder. You can not only think it, you can understand the problem, you can build the product exactly, for which there are companies who want to pay premium dollars. To me, that's the first sign that I want you to take a look at. Why go after? Now, I'm okay with a SaaS service. I just want you to see that if you start increasing one of these small things into big things, then your business starts to float. And right now, it's like you're like this beautiful seedling. You're beautifully in the ground, but every time people trample on it, so it just doesn't come around. All you need, a little bit of water, a little bit of excitement, good product market strategy, good go-to-market fit, boom, you're going to be successful.
Okay, that sounds good. I mean, we got HubSpot, Airbnb, some larger boys also play with it. So I definitely see that. And we're just doing, right now, starting to cold email the heck out of like SEO agencies, marketers. It's just doing crazy. We're doing like 700, 800 emails a week right now. And so we're just starting to see people respond to them just this week, you know.
Okay.
Jaco, hold on. Before you deliver a value bomb here, guys, if you're just tuning in, you're watching Deal or Bust here on YouTube. Dimitri, founder of JustReach.io, looking to sell his micro SaaS company to buyers. Now we've got experts coming on like Jaco with Winning by Design to talk about what they would do to help Dimitri grow. Jaco, I'm going to take what he just said and then tee up a question for you. He said we've got enterprise accounts and then listed a bunch like Airbnb and HubSpot. And then he said, but we're sending out like 800 cold emails to get like smaller players. If your recommendation was only go after high ACV, what email would you send the person at HubSpot paying him or Airbnb paying him to get them to triple what they're paying him?
Okay, let's go this back. Okay. Whoa. You have HubSpot. You have all these great names. Okay. That only emphasizes that you should go after this market that we're discussing. Those are it. Those customers you do not address with volume-based outbound emails, calls, okay? It won't work. You're destroying your brand name. Here's what I want you to do. Can I give my advice now, or is it too soon? I'm like, ah!
Lay it on us.
Okay. Look, I want to see Dimitri everywhere on YouTube. I want to see videos of Dimitri showing you how it's done. I want to see, and I saw your video, love you on style. I want to see videos of Dimitri helping a client. I want to see Dimitri on video, on LinkedIn. I want to see you everywhere. You, my friend, are my number one marketing asset. It's you, your knowledge, your insights, your capability. I would completely build a marketing campaign around it, invest a little bit of marketing spend in that, making sure, take on the advice of my two predecessors, which I believe were spot on in how to do their parts of the business, add a good go-to-market strategy, create a target list, and go after the right clients. And instead of bringing in these smaller deals, sell bigger companies want lots of services, roll in the services, because the reason why those first group of clients are giving you revenue is not because of the marketing campaign you ran, is because you taught them how to use the product and how to get value out of it. That's the reason why they're still sticking with you. And that's
Dimitri, what do you think?
$10,000.
No, I definitely have taught people how to do PR. I have the genesis for this was my PR course, PR that converts. So most of the people who bought my course ended up using my platform. And so my passion is to teach people how to do PR all on their own. Most people don't know how to do it. And I actually help people who are not my customers do PR still, because it's just a passion of mine, you know?
Yep. Guys, jumping in real quick, because this is an important trend I see with early founders. Sometimes they start with a course, and then it turns into like a little agency, and before you know it, they're building code and software for inside the agency, and they're like, oh my gosh, the software's more expensive. Let's spin the software out, and boom, before you know it, they're Dimitri running a SaaS company that's highly profitable. One of the ways that you guys can get inspired to do the same sort of thing and look at all the tactics that these folks are doing is what I'm about to show you here. So if you go, and I'll put the link here in the chat, okay? If you go, and this is to getlaka.com, this is where we put all the podcast interviews with SaaS founders, but ignore all that. Here's the critical thing. You want to go in here and sort by two things. Number one, to Jaco's point about moving up market and Dimitri's sales motion for lower ARPU customers, one of the things I would encourage you to do is go in here and sort by ACV. Okay, so sort. So this is highest ACV to lowest ACV, right? So this is 24/7 AI that sells $2 million per year plans. Obviously, the alternative, that sales motion is very different than a Hootsuite that says $10 a year plans, right? Or the opposite, right? So here you're going to see ACVs that are very small, right? $9 per year sort of ACVs. You can go click on these founders, okay, and click on their customer numbers, which will take you to the point in the show where they talk through how they drove this kind of revenue growth, and in this case at Hootsuite, using the freemium go-to-market motion. Or to Jaco's point and to Dev's point, if you're going to move more enterprise, just sort by ACV, go high to low, and then click on some of these companies that are selling massive contracts, call it $500,000 and above. Go in and find that point in the interview where they talk about that sales motion strategy, and then maybe go to Jaco's YouTube channel. So this is a great place to go to find some of these tactics. And then if you're a buyer that's tuning in and watching, a great way to find companies to buy is to go here and just sort by cash flow. Most cash flow to least cash flow. And we list all 1,400 companies with highest cash flow to least cash flow. So I'll put that chat in the link while Jaco wraps up. So you would say move to enterprise definitely.
Absolutely. at this glance, right? At the glance that we see now, enterprise, we can determine what that is, at which point in time it becomes an enterprise. What I'm typically interested in is move up from the $1,160 and get it up to $10,000, $20,000. Because at that point in time, lots of opportunities open up. The great thing is you're still small. And so your costs are still nothing is going to cost you millions of dollars. Everything is going to cost you a couple of $1,000s. So you don't need a lot of like companies to be successful. I wouldn't stop what you're doing because I don't want to pull the plug and cut off your life supply. I would just start adding to it and slowly over time. But those services, the reason why when I search for services that I'm interested in is because this is a field of expertise that is new, that is opening up to the world. It's new. And so the services are very useful. The moment in time you pull your services in when the services that you offer are general, everybody knows about it, then you can pull the services. But when you differentiate with those services, that's what people want. Product is the smaller price. Now, you said a second ago or a few minutes ago that if the person doesn't have a team or have never done it before, that therefore they're not a user of your product. That's exactly right. Them having done it before, they know, holy smokes, this is hard to do. And then they understand the value of your product, right?
Right, exactly.
So you're in that direction. And so your price is tearing down. The other one, very, very like minor, I do something to draw the people's attention with that. Now, Nathan, if you can pull up his pricing page, I don't know if you can do that. This is not rehearsed, but I'll do that.
I'm on it. Yep, I'll show it.
I want to show you something. Are you ready for something exciting?
Yes.
Smallest trick in the book. Okay, you're going left to right. When I'm an expert, where am I? What service does the expert? And be honest, what service in your description does the expert who already does a lot of this? What does the expert sign up for?
The most expensive one, the guided outreach.
Comments. You says people who already do this a lot, who already know how to do this, they sign up for the simple because all they need is XYZ. Right? That's what you said in your comments. Why? Because all your value added services are to the right. What I would do is I would flip column 1 and column 3 around. Lead with the guided outreach and end with the simple outreach. That makes people think like, wait, what? And then they go to the bottom and they understand that yours is reverse. If you, and for example, our own company, we would rather have to sign up for the 559. What most companies do, they say, let's try it. And I start with the 159. And then if it is great, I move to the middle. And then if it's great, I move to up, right? We go from SMB to mid to enterprise. But in your case, smaller companies actually need to sign up for the 559 because they need to benefit from all the services that you offer, the templates, the training, the advice. That's what I would want for my team.
True.
I have a feeling that the sales pitch is coming from Dimitri to
True.
Jaco, this was bomb advice. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Where can people learn more about Winning by Design?
Simplest ways is they're on YouTube. Just type in winning youtube.com/winning by design and you see all this energy coming at you at the light speed of the internet.
Thanks, Jaco. Guys, I want to, if you're just joining, you are watching the end of Deal or Bust. Dimitri came on JustReach.io looking to sell his company. He's got an offer for $700,000 cash all up front. Looks like it's probably one he'll go back and take. Dimitri, what are your thoughts on the experts? Dimitri, Nat, Dev, were they helpful?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of some of the stuff we've been doing already. I'd love to take Jaco up on more help there with sales stuff. I'm not a salesperson myself. And so trying to sell an enterprise client or trying to ask a smaller client to pay $600 a month, even though Dan Martell has taught me well, I still could use folks to help me, jump through that. But yeah, great advice. I jotted some things down, probably do some more SEO around some different keywords, maybe look at the switching up market a bit here, enterprise folks, helping teach folks more, around the PR. But yeah, Awesome.
all-
Awesome
all-
advice.
All good stuff, guys. Before we wrap up and conclude today's episode, I told you that I was working on a stealth project the last 2 episodes, and I give the update at the end of Deal or Bust. We started with a wireframe. Dimitri, you're going to now be able to judge me here. We started with a wireframe a couple of weeks ago. We've now pushed the MVP live just last night. The code is up, so don't judge me if something breaks. But the thing that I'm going to spend the next decade of my life working on is now live at founderpath.com. And Dimitri, my thesis here on the business is there will exist a massive market for small software companies to raise capital without having to give up equity, because there'll be people like me that can give them money on a debt basis at a low cost of capital without having you to give up a board seat, equity, things like that. So the thing that I would encourage you guys to go try, because I'm very proud of this, I want to, and this is the first website design. We'll make a lot of changes, but all the metrics I showed you today from Dimitri, this is his connected. You can see up here, this is his connected Founder Path account. So we can go into, CAC, churn, ARPU, not only unit economic data, but also CAC data, expense data, things of that nature. So we generate these charts automatically. But what I want you guys to try is imagine right now in your head, you're building a SaaS company and you just want X amount of money. Maybe you are going to go raise this on your seed round, but instead of giving up equity in your company, maybe you want to go raise $100,000. Go to founderpath.com and type in the amount of capital that you want. Okay, type in the amount of capital that you want. Just do this real quick. I'll put the link in the chat. And this will give you an idea of what I'm trying to build. So if you type it, Dimitri, like you're doing $340,000 in ARR right now, okay? I think I'm going to be totally comfortable lending up to 1/2 ARR. So let's say you want to go use Yako, and maybe Yako would help you hire an SDR, right? Hire a little mini sales team, but you need some capital to do that and you don't want to give up equity, right? You put in 150 grand here, half your ARR. This is what it would essentially cost. So we'll generate this offer for you essentially live, right? So the cost of this capital would come out to you paying it back. Remember, I'm not getting equity, it's debt. So you'd pay back a total of $200,000, but over 4 years, right? So if founders come on and they take this capital and they grow quickly, the question is this: if your monthly payment is going to be $4 grand a month, follow me here, guys. This is like the magic aha moment. The question is, can you take 150 grand today and add more than 4K in new MRR? Now you guys are doing the math right now. You're going, wait a second, 150K today for 4K in MRR, that math comes out, 4K MRR is 48K in ARR. So can you take 150 grand today and get at least 50K in new annual revenue? I.e., can you spend $3 today to get a new $1 of ARR? I've tried to make this a no-brainer. By the way, if you're spending $3 to get a $1 of ARR, you should stop immediately because you're going to go bankrupt. Trust it, it doesn't work. But if you're close to a 1-to-1 ratio and you've hustled to build your SaaS company like Dimitri has, you own it, you don't want to give it equity, and you want cheap capital, go to founderpath.com, use the calculator, and you can even apply. We can do deals there. To CNT Nova's question, who's the money behind this? I will answer that in a question, but we've judged the hell out of Dimitri. Now Dimitri can judge the hell out of me. Dimitri, don't hurt my feelings here, but be tough. I'm gonna spend the next large part of my life building this. What do you think?
I think it's a great idea. Taking a loan, I just need to know I guess people who are doing this, they need to have a playbook where they put money in and they know exactly how much money they're taking out and they know exactly how that funnel works. I work with Dan Martell and lots of other folks on many different initiatives, marketing initiatives. We're just getting going on that now. But, I think that's the pre-qualifier for any of the customers coming in to use something like this. Is like, what's your playbook? How much are you putting in? How much are you taking out? And if that playbook is working, that growth machine is working for them, and they just need more cash to put some on it. Because people might take this out for all the wrong reasons. They might not have a strategy that's working. They might talk to Yako and get really excited, and they're like, I'm just going to go contact everybody out there, all these enterprise people. This is going to be awesome. And they don't have any numbers yet, and they take out 150 grand and then they just try all sorts of things and they blow through that 150 grand. Well, you got to repay that still. So, you just don't want to get into that situation. I feel
that's right. That is a big difference between equity and debt, right? That's a massive difference. You have to understand your unit economics. But the nice thing is, if you can prove your unit economics, which is usually where VCs then say, of course, I'll write you a check. You know how to spend the money, but you got to give them a big chunk of the company. If you know your economics, though, right, this becomes basically a way to build your company and still keep 100% control with no board. So I'll end on this before we wrap. I answer CNT Nova's question. You see this special little button right here on my screen? Not if you go to FounderPath and you connect, we'll actually just make you an offer immediately. You can click Get Capital. So I'm right now on Dimitri's account. He's connected. We are using his metrics to auto-generate a credit score, which is based off a massive algorithm, based off a ton of data that he's provided and other data points that you wouldn't necessarily track a SaaS company with. So the obvious ones we track, you can see here, he scores poorly on retention. We've already talked about why, but he scores really good on things like lifetime value and customer concentration risk, right? He has no customer concentration risk, a lot of space on this curve. We use those metrics to click this Get Capital button, and it auto-generates a term sheet. Right. So you, Dimitri, could log in, click accept, we wire you money, and boom, you've got capital to grow the business. That we try and be super transparent with all the terms and everything. So for you, the max we would loan based off your current analytics is about $50,000 at a 16% rate, paid back over 4 years. So that's a $1,200 a month payment. So to your point earlier, you do not take this money unless you know you can take 45 grand and add more than $1,300 in new MRR. If you can answer yes to that question unequivocally, then you can build a great company, own 100%, no board seat, give up no control.
It's not like PPP money. Get forgiven.
You should take PPP money. No. Anyone that can get PPP money, or yeah, take that. This is not. I'm not the government, by the way, and I wouldn't make a good politician. This is very different. But to CNT Nova's point, this capital, I've raised my own fund. I have a fund that is basically filling these loans. It's my own capital. I started doing these loans a long time ago. And I said, you know what? I need to figure out a way to do these at scale. So I built FounderPath to basically build the credit scoring algorithm to let me do these loans at scale. Yes, that is what I'm working on. Darwin, thanks for this, the feedback. Martin saying this is huge. Appreciate that stuff. Brandon said, do you need to be an accredited investor to get involved from the finance side? Brandon, no, I have a debt fund that fills these loans. And I think over time, we'll actually make it a bond portfolio where software founders can go say, I want to raise $1 million. I'm willing to pay X interest, and here are my metrics. And people like Yako or wealthy individuals can come on and fill those bonds. They can essentially pick which companies they want to invest in. It's a private bond market for SaaS companies. So no, you can jump in there. There's a little button that says for investors on the homepage, which you can click. Listen, all that being said, Dimitri, we had, I think it was a hell of a show. Now, do you regret coming on, or do you enjoy it?
No, it was fun. It was fun to meet a lot of folks. I kind of knew some folks on the show, so it was fun to just hear people's thoughts. Just cool to connect. Hey, Tim was going to sign up to be a customer, so it was a win, you know.
There you go. And guys, if you enjoyed watching Just Reach Out.io and Dimitri try and sell his company live, 3 experts, 2 hungry buyers, 1 eager hustler founder, make sure you don't miss next week's episode. Just sign up for that. Go to nathanlatka.com/next week. That is the way to make sure that you get a seat on that show. And then lastly, before we wrap up, want to make sure that you guys don't miss, again, the replays and the updates. You can get those by clicking subscribe below right now. If you're not on YouTube, come on over to YouTube, click subscribe at nathanlatka.com/YouTube subscribe, and make sure after you click subscribe, you click the all little ring button. That will make sure that you get the notifications when we go live in the future. It's every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. And the last thing that I'll wrap up with is I want to thank all of you guys because of this beautiful thing right here. I showed you guys, this magazine we put out every single month. We're featuring Ryan Culp and 400 bootstrapped companies in this next issue. This is the rough version. It ships in a couple days. You can see we list tons of SaaS companies, their revenue metrics, their growth data. Everything is in there. And when I showed this last week, a bunch of you guys immediately went in and grabbed it. I'm showing the screenshot right now. You can see the timestamps June 19th. But it is maybe the most expensive magazine in the world at $29 an issue. But people are purchasing it because of all the data inside. It is the software magazine with all the data in it. If you want to grab your copy before we ship, we have to send the list to the shippers today at 5 p.m. Eastern. You can grab a copy by going to nathanlatka.com/magazine. And we'll put that link in the comments right now. nathanlatka.com/magazine. magazine. Dimitri, appreciate you coming on, man. I hope you got some customers out of this. And guys, all of you, did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was fun. That was awesome. Thank you.
All right, guys, and audience feedback real quick. I want to thank you guys. Dave Abe jumped in the comments. Gaston will be watching. Cameron Blackwell, I hope you guys enjoyed this as well. Again, be sure to click the like button below the video so more people see this. And Dimitri, look, you're getting some love here. Ben Schultz, great job, Dimitri. People are loving it. So Dimitri, you make the show. I appreciate you taking a risk and coming on. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys. Again, you just finished watching Deal or Bust, the show on YouTube where founders come on live to try and sell their companies. We've always got 2 hungry buyers plus you in the comments making offers, plus 3 experts dropping value bombs on how they'd scale the company. Today, we talked to Dimitri with Just Reach Out. We saw his P&L. We saw his churn data. We saw how he was growing the company and how he's helping people reach out to these PR firms and get scale quickly. Last shot here at the P&L, in case you are a buyer watching the replay and want to reach out, you can reach out to Dimitri on his Twitter channel. He's very responsive. And everyone else, I look forward to seeing you next week on Deal or Bust. It'll be Thursday at 1 p.m. Central Time. And in the meantime, again, I encourage all of you guys to go check out the new side project I'm working on, founderpath.com, an alternative for healthy SaaS companies where they don't have to go give up board seats and control to venture capital firms. All right, guys, my name is Nathan Latka. Again, thanks so much for joining Deal or Bust. I will see you guys next week.